Hello everyone, you've signed on for another edition of the King's Castle. I'm King James, I'll be your host for the next hour of entertainment news, wrestling news, and whatever else you want to know. And here to help me as always is my colleague, Mr. Blair Chopin.
Hey America.
Along with our semi-regular guest co-host, Mr. Pete Kohlberg.
Kohlberg.
Hope everyone had a Merry Christmas and a Happy Holiday season and are ready for the start of the new year in a couple of days. But you know what?
Oh, that's perfect.
I feel like it's time for a little twist in the show. So we're kicking things off with something a little different. Because it's time for a new segment we call Story Time with Pete!
Yeah! So with the Belt Bowl going on tonight, I went to a Mexican restaurant, Los Arcos, and they had...
How Mexican, Pete?
Pretty... Okay. And we were sitting at this booth with... It was me, my mom, and my aunt. And this... and this woman came in knowing... I didn't even know who the teams were in the Belt Bowl this year. I'm kind of ashamed I didn't know that. But
someone has not done their homework, Mr. Kohlberg.
I know, and I said...
Naughty boy.
You want to...
Anyway,
this woman came in, I guess, with her husband and kid or whatever, and she had on an Arkansas shirt, Arkansas pants, and Arkansas Crocs.
That is a whole lot of Arkansas.
And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, what is she doing wearing all this in North Carolina? Because I'd been seeing stuff about the Belt Bowl on the TVs there. But I didn't know until I got home from the restaurant that it was Arkansas playing. So I thought.
So you're like, what is this woman doing?
Exactly.
This is insane.
She's just showing off her Arkansas pride.
Wait. The more random things is someone's going to that game that they're going to a random Mexican restaurant in Concord instead of somewhere in Charlotte.
Exactly.
Which, by the way, none of us never knew existed until Pete just told us about. So. That's even more random. If the king doesn't know about it, then it's totally random.
If the king doesn't know about it, it doesn't exist.
I used to go there all the time when I was a kid.
It's like one of those if a tree falls in a forest things.
Exactly.
It's up from the flying saucer.
But anyway.
What's your opinion on that question, James? Very important. If a tree falls in the forest and no one's around.
Does it make any noise?
Yes.
Well... all I can say is the only thing you hear is one loud thump because trees can't scream.
No, God. Golly.
Did he have to say that when I had a drink in my mouth?
That's a Jamesism if I've ever heard one.
Well, you made me do it.
It's your fault, man. It's your fault.
You made me.
I did make it. That's exactly right. I made you be that corner.
Anyway.
Being God.
All the observational humor aside, we gotta touch on some pretty serious jizz because this has been a wild week in pro wrestling as always.
Lots of jizz.
But we wanna start tonight by talking about what happened this past Tuesday with the wild card final on SmackDown Live. Because right at the start of the show, we saw the return of the face that runs the place, John Cena. And Cena gave a very passionate speech about how he's not a part-timer, even though he's been considered one over the past year. But he made it very clear that he is going after the WWE World Championship at the Royal Rumble. Now, my question to you guys is this. We already know that AJ Styles has beaten John Cena twice. So that being said, don't you think Cena's taking too big of a risk here? Because given the fact that Styles is 2-0, Cena's got everything to gain, everything to lose and nothing to gain. Even though he could make history if he wins. What do you guys make of this?
You know what I make of it? I make it as John Cena's kind of dipping his foot in the water. with his acting and his Saturday Night Live and his making fun of Alabama players. But what he wants a backup plan if all that doesn't work. So he's still leaving the option on the table of being a full-time wrestler who can make a superstar run and everything. If he is him as an actor and a celebrity as a living, doesn't burp, courtesy burp there, doesn't catch on.
I think he's doing it as a after wrestling thing. Like, think about it.
Well, let me just interject something here, Pete.
Boo! Let the man make his point. Pete, go.
No, you might. I can see why you think that, but John Cena made it very clear that everything he's done up until this point, with the Saturday Night Live and all those extra movies and appearances that he does, all he's trying to do in his mind is extend the outreach of the WWE.
Do you really believe that?
Because he loves the business. He really doesn't want to go anywhere. He doesn't think he's done. He's in the best shape he's ever been. His words.
Right, and I'm not saying he's going to, retire in, the next 2 years.
I think he will.
I'm just saying he's looking long-term, too.
Exactly.
And he has a fallback plan just in case something does happen, like Edge.
Agree.
Like Edge.
Right.
If he gets a serious injury and has to retire from wrestling, he's got Saturday Night Live. He's got the acting. He's got...
See, I think wrestling is more of his fallback plan at this point.
Yeah,
because he's doing it so occasionally, and he just wants the wrestling to be there if he clunks as in the entertainment business, which I could see him being a clunker. I don't think he's very good.
Oh, wait a minute. We know he can be a good host because he hosted American Grit for Fox, and that was a hit.
What is American Grit? You and John Cena's mom. It's
actually a good show.
You and John Cena's mom.
It's a reality competition based on the training they use in the military.
Did you watch it with John Cena's mom?
No. I watched it as a loyal fan of the WWE and as a fan of John Cena.
That was a passionate monologue. Thank you for that.
But anyway, it's a military-based show where they bring 4 teams of strangers out there and they team them with...
Is that why all of his speeches have been over-the-top patriotic lately?
Exactly.
God, that's so annoying. Can we stop that?
Stop
that? I woke up this morning... And brother, I just pissed red, white, and blue, and I was confused.
Well, you're going to have to talk to him about that, sir.
I think it's a little over the top. I mean, I love America as much as... Well, not really as much as next guy. But a reasonable amount. And, I find it, it kind of is just, makes me cringe.
Really?
Yeah. It's, way over the top.
Well...
Because it seems disingenuous.
Well, there's nothing... To a certain extent, there's nothing wrong with being over the top in that context. Because let me tell you something. In addition to all those passionate speeches, the WWE has offered free tickets to all their live events in the U.S. to military veterans for the past probably...
And that's very nice. It's very nice.
13 years.
But I'm saying, isn't it a little over the top? Going out there? I find it over the top.
I just see it as him doing it as a fallback, just in case he does get seriously injured.
I see him I think he's pumping up the military so much because he's got a show about the military.
Could be. Well...
Because he's looking out for number 1.
And he's
not a good host.
In another shocking turn of events...
Cena sucks.
That's your opinion. But anyway, in another interesting turn of events from SmackDown's wildcard final this past Tuesday, we actually have new SmackDown Tag Team Champions. American Alpha shocked everyone by surviving a 4-way elimination match to take the belts away from American Alpha. Or, from the new Wyatt family. But anyway, I see this as a shock because a lot of people, including myself, thought when the Wyatt family won those titles, since they had the capability to compete under that Freebird rule, that they were going to hold on to it forever. So, do you guys really? Did you see this coming?
Kinda.
Why?
This is a Pete question.
Just because American Alpha's been so dominant, I guess.
James, I'm going to tell you something.
Yeah.
I've always been on Team American Alpha and Team America because I'm very patriotic. And
Patriots.
No, seriously, to quote John Cena, I woke up this morning, I read a book about Mary Todd Lincoln, I studied the war in Iraq and how much I love our troops, and then I pissed red, white, and blue. But anyway, you could tell with American Alpha, when we saw them in NXT, I was like, wow, these guys are going to be something. They have such good energy. They look like Mario and Luigi together, and it's very nice. And I saw some potential in them. My trained wrestling eye was like, they're going to be something. So
Well, I've never heard it put quite that way before. But anyway, Pete, you were in the middle of a point.
Well, I was just thinking.
He gets
What
interrupted a lot.
Blair was talking. I know, right?
Yeah, that's his role on the show is to get interrupted.
Yes. But have they lost a match yet?
Well, they have on a couple of occasions since the brain extension.
James, can I ask you a question?
They have lost some one-on-one attempts, but
James, do you know who hasn't lost an election?
oh no! I knew it was only going to be a matter of time before we got there on tonight's show.
Yes.
But to answer your question, you mean has the wife been lost a match, or has
No, I was talking about American Alpha because I was talking about how dominant they were.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's a good point by Pete.
I was thinking they were setting them up to be tag team champions, and then one of the members got injured.
Yeah, I think that was Jason Jordan, I believe.
And I didn't know after that if they had lost a match or they had.
Well, actually, what happened was and this goes back to Backlash in September.
Backlash.
What happened was they were supposed to face Rhino and Heath Slater in the finals of the tag tournament, but then due to a cowardly attack by the Usos,
Losers?
in which Jordan injured his knee, they were physically unable to compete. So therefore,
Yeah.
the Usos end up taking their spot because they won the wild card match, and that's what led to Slater and Rhino's run.
I think that's why I was asking if they had
Do you
lost.
subscribe to the philosophy Rhino before host?
No. In fact, I have no idea where that came from. But
I just got bored, sorry.
anyway, the other thing that I thought was kind of interesting was we saw a match between Alexa Bliss and Becky Lynch for the SmackDown Women's title. And I gotta admit, I thought Alexa had this one in the bag. But at the last minute, another young lady dressed in a La Luchadora outfit, whatever that is,
You probably were.
came out and distracted Becky long enough for Alexa to win the match. Now, we all know that last week Becky used the La Luchadora disguise to. Oh, we're almost out of time, so
No, you can finish your point, but we're just like, only got like a minute and a half.
we used the La Luchadora disguise to distract Alexa. So it'll be interesting to see where that goes from here. But anyway, Alexa's still champion. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little more about Raw, so stay right there.
Rawr.
Roar.